Kia ora from beautiful Aotearoa, that is to say, hello from beautiful New Zealand. I'm Career Break Guy, taking a break from my corporate life tonight to play a little bit of solo The One Ring. But a little bit more special than that, it is the new starter set adventure that's coming out end of July, or has already come out, depending on when you watch this, called Overhill and Underhill. So this is meant to be played with a group at a table, up to 5 players, they say at least 3. But you know what, I'm just going to run it, see if I can do it solo. I'm going to use the pre-generated characters they provide in the box, but I'm also going to use a bit of the Moria rules. I looked down that way because I've got the Moria book available. It kind of builds out on the Strider solo rules and allows you to control a party of people without having to do each individual person. So I'm going to have my main character, which is one of the pre-mades, and then I'm going to have a single unit, which is the rest of the party, which is the rest of the pre-made characters. Now, I did want to just play this and learn the story as I go, which means every so often I'll read something not out loud, I need to see whether it's something that I would know at the time, and then I'll just pick out the bits that I can. This is kind of have you play a solo game that's been pre-written, but I actually started this last night, but the recording died. So here I am, I'm going to redo the first part of this adventure and then carry on through. So, quick introduction. Oh, this is the box art for Overhill and Underhill. Oh, don't even need to do that, but we will. The character that I'm using, one of the pre-mades, is called Dinir, Eagle Nose. He's a Ranger of the North, a Warden, as you do. Since I was a kid, thought that the Rangers were cool, so of course I'm going to play this guy. Good with the sword, and he's got a Grievous longsword, which means it does extra damage. But otherwise very rangery, exploring skills, hunting awareness, athletics, a bit of healing. General all-round nice guy, although he is quite honourable and stern, if you were to describe him in 2 words. Very quickly, I'll just tell you the other people that are in the box. These are all ones that you used to be able to download, or still probably can download, free from the Free League site. But now they've included them inside of this box set, when it eventually releases. There was a 6th person who was, I think, a Man of Bree, but for whatever reason, they didn't include him, so it's just these 5. So the next person in our little fellowship is going to be Fembrithil of the Havens. She is an Elf of Linden. She's our scholar. We've got Eriador of Galta, who is a barding, our captain. So as much as she's the unofficial leader of the group, I'm going with Dunier, as he, for a lot of the time, kind of does his own thing with the group, but he acts separately, so I'm just going to play him. But then she's kind of leading this group with the other 4. We've got Mint the North Took, who, like every other hobbit, it appears, is a treasure hunter. I've never seen a non-treasure hunter hobbit, but maybe one day. And then Regin Stonefist, who is our champion, so just an all-out brawler. One of Durin's folk. So honestly, I'm just excited to play this. I don't play nearly enough The One Ring, as much as it's my favourite TTRPG. So I'm just going to get cracked in. So I'm going to read out bits and pieces here. You know what? Let's keep this screen up. And yeah, so part 1, this is a 3-part adventure, and they say each part should be about a session, and then at the end of it, wrap up your session, come back next time. But I'll just push through and see how much I can do. So to start with, the player heroes belong to a company, a tight-knit group of adventurers based in the town of Bree. They know each other and have worked together for some time, protecting the simple folk in the area from bone-chilling dangers coming from the houseless hills beyond. This adventure starts in the Prancing Pony in early September, and the party has recently assisted the bounders of the Shire with some troubles on the northern borders. So the first part, a last tale for the night. This is a bit that I'm meant to read out to the players if I was running this elsewhere. So the evening's been pleasant, and Dunier and his companions have enjoyed much of the pony's fine beer. But we didn't come here just merely for cheer. Lady Gilraine, our patron and wise counsellor, arranged a meeting with a fellow named Rupert Rushlight, a hunter who has a tale of great interest to tell. Gilraine, if you haven't heard of her, is in the core rulebook. She is the mother of Aragorn, and she kind of organizes the Rangers, so Dania would be very familiar with it. Maybe that's where the contact came in before they all joined together. I wonder if that's Dania in that picture, which would make that Mentha and Fimbrethil. Anyway. So, when an old man with a limp and a bandaged eye approaches the table, we politely invite him to sit. Greetings! I am Rupert Rushlight, he says in a withered voice. We share a friend in Lady Gilraine. He glances around the room cautiously, lowering his voice and telling his tale. 3 weeks ago, while hunting in the eastern foothills of the Northern Downs, I was caught in a sudden storm. Seeking refuge from the biting wind, I stumbled upon a ring of ancient stones atop a hill. Though not a place I'd usually choose for rest, I hoped to find a cave of some kind for shelter there. On the bare summit, I noticed several tracks encircling a shallow pit in the centre of the ring of stones. As I moved closer to inspect it, a cloud veiled the moon, enveloping everything in deep darkness. I barely remember what happened next. The air turned deathly cold, colder than any winter's night, as I recall watching my breath freezing before me. And then I felt it. An ancient presence, powerful, malevolent, searching for me. When a terrifying growl echoed across the hills around me, I knew I'd been discovered. Rupert pauses, his hand trembling as he takes a sip from his tank, and I think at this point, Dania and Gira have probably just stopped drinking for the moment. They've got their drinks down, just paying attention, taking in these details. Same with Fimbrethil. Mentha and Regan, I imagine, are more jovial folk, and so attending, but also still drinking. So Daniel encourages them to continue. And so I ran fleeing down the crowned hill as fast as I could, nearly all the way to Bree. I told the rangers, and word reached Lady Gilraine. She asked me to tell you my story, and so I have. But I beg you, don't ask me to return to those cursed stones. And with these final words, Rupert hands Dania an envelope. The seal upon it is unmistakably that of Gilraine. So inside is a letter written in the lady's graceful yet strong script, and this is cool because in the box set there's actually a physical handout that you can give to the players, although I will likely just print it so that I can keep the original in one piece. So though Rupert's tale sounds strange, you know well that the world is full of such dark mysteries, especially far from Bree's warmth, and if Lady Gilraine thinks it's worth investigating, it's not to be ignored. So I found that they do have a printout of the letter in this book. I've kind of got a copy of the just an iPad with the adventure up. So anyway, this letter, Dania takes it and checks the seal, and he's going to read it first. I think Gira kind of gives him a side look, but he'll take it first. Just make sure that there's no kind of secret ranger subtext that he should be aware of before passing it across to her. So it says, Dear friends, I hope this letter finds you in good spirits, for I write to you with a heavy heart of concern. Just days ago, I chanced upon the disturbing story of a hunter from Bree named Rupert, who returned from the North Downs. His tale left me deeply troubled, for he spoke of experiencing a profound dread, the feeling that an ancient shadow had awakened in the dark hills. As I pondered his account, my thoughts turned to you, valiant friends whose courage I greatly esteem. I asked Rupert to find you and share his story, something he has done if you are reading these words. I fear that this dark presence may pose a grave threat not only for those who dwell near the Downs, but possibly to all who call Eriador home. I urge you to travel north to seek the source of this malevolence before it stirs further unrest. You possess the valour and wisdom needed to confront this darkness. May your path be guided by the light of hope, and may you return with the knowledge and courage to face whatever lurks in the hills. With deepest respect and heartfelt worry, Gilraine. And so Dania hasn't really picked up any subtext that he should be aware of, so he hands this to Gira, who begins to read it, and Fimbrethil, I think, is sitting next to him, starts reading it as well, and the other two will eventually get to it. But Dania is going to try and get some more information from Rupert, but looking across, he sees that Rupert is quite his hands are still trembling as he holds this mug and like takes sips, and his eyes are a bit unfocused, almost as he's gone back inside of himself, re-experiencing the situation. And so, looking ahead, again, this is the whole thing of running a story that's been pre-written by yourself. Is you just kind of skim the text to see if there's any things that you shouldn't know, and then just kind of compartmentalize them in your head. But otherwise, it might have a things that you should note and act upon. So the other way, or the other thing you should do, is you also think about your characters. Think about what their default position would be. If you have a character who every time they come up to a door, they push it open, it's very strongly, throw it open, and then step through. If you are reading forwards a little bit and you see something that says the door is trapped, you wouldn't then say, oh, at this time my character decides that they're going to cautiously check the door for traps. No, you've already established that yours kick the door in, just roll with it, eat the trap. That's how you separate the lore master side of your brain with the player side. Anyway, I diverge. So Daenerys is going to try and get some information out of this man. I think what he's going to do is he's going to speak to him and try and reassure him. One, that, it's not cowardly that he ran away. It was the wise thing to do, that he could bring this information back, and just try and reassure him, put him at ease. I'm looking here, and he has no enhearten, no courtesy, no persuade. So what I might do is I might actually defer to my party. Daenerys is trying to think of the words to say, and I think Fimbrethil has known him long enough to see that he can find, a rabbit in a forest easy enough, but then sometimes he just struggles to find the words, and so she will step in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll expertise. So 2 success die, 1 feat die. I'm looking here, scholar, fair, lordly. I don't necessarily know that those are going to be of particular use in this role, so I'm not going to add an extra dice. Otherwise, if she was trying to, do a courtesy perhaps, I might say I'm going to add a fair. Oh, you know what? Actually, that's a good point. She's going to add 1 success dice. So I'll roll 3 success dice, 1 feat dice, because she is pulling upon her gentle nature to try and to bring Rupert along and out of his shell, reassure him about the situation. So what we're going to do is we are going to roll. Let me just drag this little dice tray out. 1 feat dice, 2 for our expertise, and then 1 for using Fimbrethil's skill. Trying to get a 16. 15. Not quite. It does put him at ease. Some of the trembling clears. But at this time, he is still... That shadow has passed across his face. He's still feeling... He's still on the hill inside of his head. This is just like the echoes of Fimbrethil trying to bring him out. I think... What shall we do there? You know what? Mintha is also... No, I'm not going to re-roll this. I think that they're just not going to be able to get that much information out of him. But what I will get, and what he will do, is he takes a big gulp out of his drink, steals his nerves, and he sweeps things across the table, much to the dismay of Mintha and Regan, who are like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Then he starts arranging mugs and cups and looking through. This is legit. And also, you want the story to continue, fall forwards. So what he's going to do is he marks out some landmarks. And we've also got this little map at Eriador. So if we find Bree, see if I can center that there. And he said it was up in the North Downs. that going to ping? Not going to ping. Maybe if I'm on this one. Ping. There we go. So there's Bree. There's the North Downs. And he's going to point out a couple of marks. He gets some breadcrumbs and makes a little road, and then puts a mug there and say, well, that's Fornost. And then he gets some more bits and pieces, lays them out like maybe a bone or something, and says that's the North Downs. And he kind of just indicates that it's on there somewhere. And we get a rough idea of the area, but we don't get any more additional information about it. So I think reading through, okay, well there's a section here, and it talks about some of the other things that you might find, or that I suspect you will find out there or somewhere later in this adventure. But because I've read a heading, and like the first couple of bits of the sentences, I don't think that's information that I necessarily need to know now or should know now, so I'm going to skip ahead of that. But yeah, prompted by the words of Rupert and the request of Lady Gilrain, our party has decided that we're going to strike out. Now looking here, based upon where he said, Daenerys got a rough idea of the area, expects that this is going to take about usually 6 days of travel. We're going to have to travel up the road, up the greenway, and we're going to have to peel off. And it's actually, where he marked it, we're going to say it's actually this little thing here. And in fact, there is a map in the book. Where'd it go? There we go. So just ignore part of that. There we go. Bree, we're heading up the greenway, and then we'll go over to this crowned hill. So it was actually that little thing there. Right, so what we have to do then is we need to do our journey roll. Using Mori, it's slightly different. What you do is you roll to see if your party keeps up with you or whether they kind of impede you as you're trying to make your travel roll, and then you make your journey roll as usual. So to do this, we roll our maneuver. This is our favored skill because we are pathfinders by nature. Oh, I did spell it according to that. Right. So we will roll 2d12, or 2 feet die, and 3 normal die. Is there anything, any of our skills that might help us? No, I think we're just going to go with that. Looking for a 16. Let's take out 3. We've got 21. So 21, excellent. It means that the party rallies around and manages to keep pace with Daenerys as he, I mean, let's see whether he can actually set a decent pace or not. But anyway, they're all keeping together, and they're not holding him back at all. So he's going to roll his travel roll, which is a shame that's not favored. I wonder if one of the others actually has that favored. Just double checking what his gear is. A hatchet, no, that's not going to be useful for it. Okay, so his travel roll to try and set us forwards. Looking for a 15. Just get a 15, but also get a success. So what that means is if you get a success on your journey roll, you can travel 3 spaces. Does the map? Oh, it's not on the map, but we had 6 spaces that we had to travel. Travel 3 plus 1 additional space because we got a success. So we've traveled 4 spaces. We're 2/3 of the way there. That's excellent. And this is when the event happens. Because I'm playing a solo game, I'm going to use the Strider roll for solo journey events. Let's roll a d12 to see what kind of thing happens. Most of the trip is traveled well. I guess we're going up the Greenway. It's only once we head off. Oh, that should have been favored, actually. It's only when we head off that things start going a little harder. And on a roll of a 1, it is a despair. If we fail the next roll, we'll gain 2 shadow points of dread, and we'll get 2 points of fatigue. Well, that's awful. Now, in here, there is actually an expanded journey event, and it says that this is a good event to have inside of the journey. So, as the day's journey comes to a close and the sun is sinking below the hill, the sound of flowing water guides you to a small grey pool fed by a spring running among the rocks. It's a refreshing sight and a rare find in this barren landscape, making it seem like an ideal campsite. And it is that we're in this barren landscape. We've out of the way there, bud. We're probably about here. Yeah, we've gone off the Greenway, started traveling cross country, heading towards the North Down. So he's going to roll a skill check. Which one though? So Jenny Solo, event details. One, the despair event. Oh wait, that's for doing a normal thing. So because we're doing this event, awareness, what skill is he going to use? I think he's going to go and use explore. Is explore what I'm thinking of? I think he will use his explore just to, no, actually awareness. This is an awareness thing. They've come to this pool. He's been trying to find them a place to rest. The first day off the north, north of the Greenway. But he is just a little wary. He hasn't come across this before in his travels, and so he's just double checking that no one else is maybe camping around this area. So I'm going to roll for awareness. We're looking for a 14. We get an 11. So searching around, no, he doesn't see any kind of issue here. But what he does notice is as he's going towards the water, he notices an old brooch glittering just within arm's reach at the bottom of the pool. Now, he's not foolish enough to, just reach out and grab that. Oh, no, he is, actually. I've failed that roll. So, he's about to scoop some water and he sees this. And he reaches out and touches it. So what happens, failing this roll and reading this event? An unseen force attempts to pull the player's head underwater, trying to drown him. So in addition to the usual consequences, so 2 points of dread, which he can roll his valor to try and offset. Oh, there, no, so he gets 2 points of dread, 2 points of fatigue, which we'll have to remember. We'll roll against that in a moment. Also, roll a feat dice to see how much endurance is lost due to partial suffocation. Okay, so 1 feat dice coming up. Yeah, so he reaches out and grabs us, and then this force pulls him under the water, but he, I think maybe Gira's there as well, just kind of grabs him, pulls him out like, what the heck are you doing? Grabs him by the coat so she doesn't get wet as well. But he does lose a point of endurance. Gasping for air, and looking around, once a kiss tree, the water of the pool clears, revealing bones and fragments of corroded armor visible on the bottom, hidden amongst the rocks. Yeah, so everyone is kind of taken aback by this. The others come to the water's edge and what's the face of the dwarf? Regan, not Regan. Hey, getting dicey. Regan is like, what in the blazes is going on here? And Gira is kind of blunt about having to have just saved Dania. Mentha checks him over, and it seems otherwise fine. He's feeling a little foolish for being taken in. So what they're going to do is they're going to find another spot a little bit further along and make a note that they're going to have to tell people that this pool exists and not to be taken in. I think what he's going to do is he's also going to scratch into the trees nearby some signs that other rangers will notice. So anyway, that was the first day of the trip was good. It's just the event was bad. The next day, waking up, feeling a little worse for wear, but the party's keen to crack on. So let's roll our maneuver again. 1 dice plus 3d6. Oh, sorry, 2 dice plus 3d6 because this is our favored roll. 10, 6, they're easy, 14, 24. So 24 will easily get us to the location. And so now what we can do is we can roll our travel skill, just to try and reduce that fatigue. We're 2 points of fatigue from that last event. When you're doing the Morio rules, everyone's kind of tied to your main character, so I'm going to roll his travel. Oh, sorry, that was to them to keep up. Now I need to roll his travel to see if we even go anywhere. We still only need to get 2 spaces. Yeah, there we go. So 2 spaces, easy. Now we'll do the travel roll to see if we can reduce the fatigue, like whether this has gone, he's managed to find them a better path. Maybe they had a happy song as they were chatting away. No, unfortunately not. So he's still going to take a couple of points of fatigue. That's good. He's still not too bad. He's going to get tired soon, though. But they have reached the crowned hill. So we've been following the tortuous path north across the path across the Northern Downs for a couple of days now. When we finally see it, there's the hill that Rupert spoke of rises within a small wood. Its summit mostly barren. The ascent is easy. You quickly reach the top. Sparse grass patches. That was weird to say. Sparse grass patches cling to the rocky soil, where 5 grim, shadowy stones jut outward like fingers of a skeletal hand. 4 of these stones grouped together, their foreboding shapes mirrored by a solitary, thicker yet shorter standing stone on the opposite side. A terrible reek hangs in the air, emanating from a shallow pit dug in the middle of the stones. It says as you look inside, but we're not actually going to look inside yet. There is a little map, and I'm going to share that with you now. You might have, no, it's not that one. You might have seen it before. There we go. So here we go. So there's the 4 shadowy pillars and the shorter one, and there's a pit. So we've come in from over here. And what we're going to do is, once we see this, Daenerys is just kind of motion to everyone to hang back a bit. He's going to scout ahead. So they're going to kind of cluster more along this way. Regin is going to keep an eye back here. I reckon he and Mint are good friends, so they're probably going to work together. Femberthill's going to stand more in the middle. She has a bow. She's at the ready. Gira is coming a bit further up to support Daenerys, but then he's going to make sure that she stays out of sight as he scouts around. And he's just going to do an awareness roll just to see if there's anything that he should notice. I haven't read forwards to know whether I even need this. But there is a success, and that success, there was no additional success die. So I'm going to have a bit of a read forward now, see if there was anything that I should have noticed. Or maybe it is that at that point, if there's nothing to notice, that would indicate that he's gone forward, just trying to see what's in that pit, what's happening there. Okay, yeah, so he sneaks forward, ranges like a little shadow, and he gets to the edge of this pit, and that smell is just a physical smell, kind of turning his face away, but he peers inside and he discovers the source of the vile stench is a large decaying carcass swarmed by flies. All players going to the hill get 2 more shadow points. So I guess that's another valor test. Failure, so 2 more shadow points. We are not feeling good about this whole thing. So with the party set up as or the fellowship set up as we are, look at all these little windows I've got going. We're going to move up a little bit more. We're still going to have Gira is going to be keeping an eye on the area. She's quite aware, being ready knows that, she's taking stock of the fact that there's more or less 2 escape routes. Finberthil's going to be looking at these stones to see if there's anything that she notices being a scholar. Regin is going to be, I guess, looking at this other stone and the stones in general, more from a dwarven craftsmanship perspective. And Mentha is also going to just be keeping an eye out, looking for any clues, along with Denier. Denier is going to be checking if he can get any more information about what's in the pit, and also he's going to be checking for tracks around the area. So now that I've made those calls as to what we're going to do, I can have a look to see what it suggests we can do. Right, so the pit. So looking in the pit, so there's a half-burnt remains of a mount's bridle, which can be recognised by an Elven or Ranger player, which is Denier, as once belonging to Dundan. Okay, so yeah, looking in, he notices this bridle and notices the marking, recognises it as a fellow ranger's. I don't think he necessarily recognises which ranger it is, but it makes a note, okay, this is probably one of our horses. On a successful hunting roll, we haven't done that. So maybe it says I read the words hunting roll and beast, so I think revealing and beast. So I think if we do a hunting roll, we might be able to get more information about what it is that we're seeing in this pit. So Denier is the one that's been looking in there. So where's his hunting gone? What can you tell us about the horse in the pit? A wee bit. So it's a success, not a great success or anything like that, but successful roll on hunting reveals the beast was killed within the last 3 days. There's other burnt bones that suggest this grimside has witnessed many more grisly offerings, including the remains of large animals like boars, deers, as well as humans and orcish bones. Okay. Funnily enough, Regin has knowledge about orcs, so I wonder if he's going to notice anything here. Some of these other rolls that we can do. Yes, we'll do another hunting roll to see if there's any tracks around that we can notice. Ooh, that eye's not good. An 11, no, so Regin is maybe a bit in his head at the moment, thinking about the fact that this is a fellow ranger's horse and that there's human remains in here. Yeah, it's all a bit worrisome. But so I guess we're going to look at the people who are looking at the stones. Let's see if we can get some information there. I see it says if the player here has examined the stones. That's why I stopped reading, but I do see the word lore as highlight. So we don't have lore as when using the Moria rules, but we're going to use our expertise. So 2 dice plus 1, but I'm going to give an extra dice because Finberthil was a scholar. So 3 success dice, 1 feat dice. Looking for a 16. Wow, really did. So 2 extra successes. We'll figure out if there's anything that we can do with those. So if we discover examine the stones, we discover ancient inscrutable runes written in the language of the Hilt folk. Okay, the inscriptions have recently been defiled with unsettling scrolls and foul symbols. A successful lore roll reveals that these markings are an invocation in a debased dialect of the common tongue used by orcs, praising the mighty queen of the night, the Fang of the North. Considering we had so many successes there, I think I might just say that earlier in the story, you could get some extra information from Rupert, but I think what I might do is, if it's applicable, I'm going to say that Finberthil has, looking at these markings, knowing that it's hillfolk and whatnot, if that's related, then she might have remembered something. Yeah, so it talks about, this is something Rupert could have told us, but I'm saying that Finberthil's learnt it from these stones, or realised that this is hillmen markings, and so pulling on her knowledge of the hillmen, she's like, oh, wait a minute. They used to actually inhabit these northern areas before the North Kingdom was even here, before the Numenorians arrived. And in fact, the Numenorians kind of pushed into their land, forced them further north, compressed them, and that led them to be resentful and join in with Angmar. Where's our map? Eriador. So the old Witch King up in Angmar. Yeah, so they got compacted through and they formed an alliance. But when the Witch King was defeated, many who served him fled east across the Misty Mountains. Some chose to remain in this area, though, hiding in caves and secret valleys and evading the vengeful armies of Gondor and elves. So with the passage of many centuries, their descendants still endure, living as hunters and warriors in a fragile peace with orcs that occasionally raid this region. So, yeah, seeing that these are Hillman markings, it's kind of sparked in my mind, yep, that's right, the history of the Hillmen, that makes sense. They probably have some kind of settlement or a cave system or whatever it is that they're staying in this area. This must be one of their sacrificial pits, although yeah, it looks like someone else is now repurposing it. This, what they call them? The mighty Queen of the Night, the Fang of the North. Whether that's some kind of they've got vampires in this and werewolves. There was a giant wolf on the cover of the rule booklet, so I'm wondering, might be a wolf. But you know, that's me. The characters haven't had any indication about this. They might just as well be thinking, you know, this is vampires or some kind of thing. The Return of the Witch King maybe seems unlikely, but you never know. So, looking at the other things we might know. So, an ancient pass leads eastward. We saw that in the picture, didn't we? Yeah. And Gira's looking at that. So, an ancient path leads eastward from the crowned hill. Oh, it says if we choose to follow it. I don't want to read where we eventually follow it. Oh, so reading ahead, it has said that there is a small band of goblins lingering in the woods surrounding the crowned hill who have noticed the company's approach. Led by a shrewd hunter, Hackmog, the goblins are clad in wolf furs, wearing helms that resemble wolf heads, and carry shields crudely painted with wolf shapes. So there you go, it's going to be wolves. Allow the players an awareness roll to spot the attackers, otherwise they have an opening volley. So it is good because, you know, Vera was there. We did have people that were kind of looking out, not just examining things specifically. So, oh, no, that's why I've done it over here. So our vigilance. 2 + 1, we're a smaller group, which is why we have +1 but -1 war. That's going to cost us in a moment when we have a fight. Yes, and none of those skills, it's only really these two who have skills that I can borrow at the moment. So 3 dice plus 1d12. 1, 2, 3. 1d12. Hoping for a 16. Not getting it. So we're taken unawares. There is as many goblin archers as there are player heroes in the company. Hackmog is accompanied by Wild Wolf, the offspring of Garaf. Okay. So combat is run a little differently because I'm using the Moria rules. It's a bit more abstract. You figure out the kind of size of the might and the endurance of the opposing force as a whole. And so this is just like a little, I'll grab the book. This is just a small little patrol, I'd say, because there's only a leader, a wolf, and then 5 people. So you've got a patrol, a pack, a warband, and a horde. So this, I think, is just a patrol. So 0 might, 3 resistance, which is kind of like endurance for when you're doing these fights. But I'm going to say that it has what's known as an archfoe, which is kind of like a hero leader character in this Hackmog. That was his name? Hackmog. So what we're going to do is we're going to rain some arrows down first of all. So we'll just do 1 per person. The goblins themselves. Do I have goblin stats handy? That would have been useful. Oh, they'll be in the back of the book because you always have stats at the back of these books. Goblins, goblins, goblins. I mean, they just need to roll against our parry anyway. Yep, okay, so rolling against our parry, not including shields. It's going to be 1 on each of us as we're about to kick into this fight. Cue fight music. Trying to get back on the page that I was on. Right, so first of all, it doesn't really work like that. What I might do is I might just say that the opposing force has got a more advantageous position for this first round, which means when we're going to do our battle roll shortly, then I'm going to lose 1 dice. You can tell that I just do this live. Just make it up as I go along. But this part of the joy of being a solo player is that you can just do whatever you want, and you're not wrong. As long as you're enjoying yourself. Right, so let me just bring up these fight rules. Fight, 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 fight. So the rules, it's called a clash. So the first thing you do is you select your leader's focus, which is going to be, what's Dinio doing. Then you set the band stance, you make a clash roll, and you resolve the clash. So the leader's focus can be, you can command your troops to get tactical advantage, you can inspire them, you can fight, like get in amongst and actually try and kill people. You can have a duel against the archfoe. And those are the 4 options. So I think that, these arrows of rain in, he's not going to have a chance to duel on this turn. So what is, the arrows will come in, and he is just going to try and he's just going to be in the fighting, I guess. So we'll roll our combat proficiency. Let's say the arrows have come in. He's rolling combat proficiency now to try and strike some of these gobos. What's he got? He's got strength of 14, target number 14 for using his sword, which he draws. He doesn't have a shield, so he might as well just use it two-handed. What does that say? I need to select token to attack. Disregard then. I'm just going to roll swords. So this is him just slashing away at the gobos. A Gandalf, excellent. So the sword itself does 6 damage, but I'm just going to say with a Gandalf and an extra success, he's just going to cut down one of the goblins. Easy as that. And that will reduce their resistance by 1. So instead of having resistance of 4, they're going to have resistance of 3 from now. But now we're setting our band stance. What we are is I'm going to say balanced. We haven't really had a chance to do anything yet. And now we're going to do this clash roll. So it's roll maneuver, war, modified by their might, which is 0. But then it's going to lose 1 dice because of, well, we're never going to make it. So we're automatically going to fail this. Oh, and we also lose 1 dice because an archfoe is present. So even has to say that Gira's leadership adds +1. We lose it from the archfoe and losing it 1 for our position. I guess if we roll a 12? Or Gandalf? No, okay. So that first rain of arrows comes in, and it does land in amongst us. What we have to do is we need to make a endurance roll, I believe it is, to take damage. Resolve the clash. Failure. If you must make an endurance test for the band. Page 203. I haven't played the solo rules in a little while, sorry. So 203. Painful threat. Make an endurance test is roll rally. Target number is modified the might of the foe. Okay, so rolling our rally. If we fail with a big icon, then someone gets seriously hurt. And if we fail otherwise, someone gets an injury condition. So rally is 2. Oops, wrong dice. 12 plus 2d6 is, come on, 15, just miss. 2 successes is nice, but not enough to actually help us. Right, so we've done that roll, and someone is going to take injured stance. I think what it is now Regin, who was maybe caught a little more unaware, is... Oh, there's even a little box there. That's convenient. Grab that little box, put it there. He catches an errant arrow. And now he's got a temporary injury. Now we continue to fight. We're a little more organized this time, so I think what I'm going to do, partially just because I think it sounds interesting, is that Regin is going to engage in a duel with this Hackmog. I'm just going to bookmark this page so I can come back to it quickly. Go to the end of the book. Right, so Hackmog and Denier are going to roll a couple of rounds of combat. So first of all, Denier will attack. This creature has parry +2. This goblin hunter, or orc hunter. I need to get at least a 16. Rolls exactly a 16, thankfully, with 1 extra d6. So with that, he is going to do a pierce. Now use his success. Let me just bring up the rules for that. Pierce combat. Man, I really have not had a fight in a while. Oops. Right, so using my d6. You don't actually get like a stance personally. You have to use the stance of the whole party. Attack roll, endurance loss, piercing blow. So, oh sorry, that piercing blow is if you roll a Gandalf. So what he gets to do is he gets to do a... Oh, actually no, because he's got the success, he can either do a pierce, increases the skill, the damage by 1, or he can do a heavy blow, which will inflict additional endurance equal to his strength. +1 because he's two-handed. Okay, so what he's going to do that. The normal endurance loss is 6 plus another 6, 7. So that's 13 in total. And this guy has more endurance than that. So in reply, this creature is going to take a swing with his scimitar. He's got 3 dice for that, plus 1 d12, and he needs to beat the parry of 18. Well, that's not bad, actually. 20. 20 is enough, though, so he will strike back, hitting Denier and causing 3 endurance damage. So these combats, these duels, you're meant to run them for about 3 rounds before you then switch over and go back to the main fight. So Denier is going to strike back again. Takes that slash. He knows that he did some decent amount of damage on this first swing, so he's all in, coming back again. Roll our swords. Ooh. Unfortunately, because the guy has parry 2, it's maybe a bit of a clumsy strike, caught off his rhythm because he was just struck, and the this orc manages just to throw his scimitar out at the last minute to parry this blow, then spinning around himself to do a counter attack where he's looking for at least an 18, where he does. So yeah, he fends off Denier's attack and then takes a slice for another 3. Yeah. Getting close to becoming weary. like his other his arm is attacked. Uh, he's he knows that this is close though, so he's going to try one more time. He's going to take a step back, try and steady himself, and he's going to swing one more time. Oh, yeah, terrible. Yeah, completely off balanced. Maybe what it is depending on the yeah. Oh, although a 12 is a Gandalf, which counts as a 0 for foe in the same way that an I or an 11 counts as a 0 for heroes. So he got an 11, which is better. So, Denier has done this swing. It's completely off balance. I think Hackmog just rushes him in that moment and goes for a strike, but Denier has at least got the wherewithal to kind of fend off that attack. And so they clash, and the sound of steel is lost as the rest of the party is still engaging with these creatures, with these other goblins. So now we go back to the rest of the party. We've had our duel. No, I was meant to do stances, so oh well. Just reactions. Abilities. Right. So anyway, we're back to the regular fight. So now the party itself is going to set itself into a. They're going to lose one dice because there is a archfoe here. So I think what they're going to do is they're actually going to go quite aggressive. They're watching what Denier's doing. So that makes this roll ill-favored. But regardless, we immediately reduce the resistance of the foe by 1 point. So it's already down to 3 from 4. I'm going to try and take it down a little bit more. This time Gira is going to show her leadership skill. So I'm going to give us 1 extra dice. So lose 1 dice, gain 1 dice. We can just scrape by and get this, even if we don't get a Gandalf. But if we get an eye, no, then we will fail it. That's really not what I need right now. So this round again hasn't gone well for our party, our little fellowship. Oh, I've done that wrong. 2d6. This is the rally roll to see the damage. 12 is not enough. So again, Gira has stepped up, is yelling out these commands, trying to rally everyone, and she also cops an arrow. Can I do another little box here? Text box. X. Okay, so we've got 200 people. The next turn now is Denier he's determined to end this. He knows that this thing can bleed. It's taken 13 damage already. Sorry. Oh, did take 13. Just so happened that was the same amount. Right, so he's having bad with a yell. He returns to the fray, seeing Denier injured. Spurs him on, two-handed in with the sword. Please, please, please. Oh, why so bad sometimes, Denier? Maybe it is that he's going in for the attack and then he sees Gira get hit and is momentarily distracted. I suspect that this orc hunter is not going to be distracted. No, he's really not. In fact, he does a piercing blow and a heavy blow, which is really unfortunate. So to do this then, that weapon was 316, I think it was. 316, right, so it's going to do 3 plus 4, so it does 7 endurance to start with, putting him down to 12, making him weary. And then Denier is going to have to make a roll for his armor against a 16, otherwise he's going to take an injury. No. is weary. I don't see this going well. Oh, madness. Okay. So it succeeds in the armor takes this hit instead. That was somewhat miraculous. That was a piercing blow. It fails, received a blow, but he hasn't. He's passed. So that's all good. He is weary though, which means that his 1s, 2s, and 3s aren't going to count for anything on the dice, and that seems to be all he can roll at the moment. But he is engaged in this combat. He needs to... Oh, don't add dice. He needs to end this. He can feel his strength fading. He's seen a couple of his friends wounded. He's got to try and take down this leader. He feels that if he can do that, then at least... There we go. +2... Yeah, he was 14. +2 is 16. And he got 1 extra success there. So he is going to do that as a heavy blow again. So as much as I think the Orcas strikes him in the leg, and it, strikes him in the stomach, but where it is still armored, and it knocks him to the ground. And the Hakmog strides forward, laughing, draws up his scimitar to end poor old Denier. But at that moment, Denier, as the scimitar is coming down, he stabs up with his sword. Just has an extra bit of reach, moves to the side slightly as the falling blade comes past, and skewers the orc under the chin, as they do in so many movies. I think that's going to give our side an extra dice. We're going to continue to be more aggressive. So the foes are currently on 2 anyway. But we're going to roll 1 for war. 1 extra dice for what's just happened. 1d12. Or 1 feat dice, I should say. Wow, so terrible. So then we do our rally. So things aren't going as well for the party as it is for old Denier. 10, so you know what? Let's say Region is going to take 1 for the team. Can I move that? Is that done it? Oh, there we go. We'll just move it up like that. He's run over to try and defend Gira. Get struck with more arrows, but these orcs or goblins are now down to 1 resistance. And I think at that point that they are likely just going to... I think it's reasonable that... I was going to say, I think it's reasonable that they break at this point, and they're going to retreat away, leaving the party a moment to try and catch their breath, gather themselves, and you take stock of what just happened. Gira, Regin, and Denier are all wounded in reasonable ways, but now we find ourselves on top of this hill alone. No one's in the mood to chase these goblins at the moment. As they take off, their orc captain lies slain next to Denier. Like, he's just lying on his back. This orc is next to him. He hasn't even managed to get up yet. So as they take stock of what they need to do next, standing on top of this hill, I too am going to take stock of what I need to do next. Which apparently is brush up on the rules a bit more. I'm still not going to read ahead in the adventure, because that takes out the fun of it. As I said at the beginning, it's a 3-parter, and they said at the end of each part you should take a break, or end the session. The end of the first part was actually the getting to this hill, so I'm just kind of stopping it, I assume, midway through. Hopefully you've enjoyed listening to this. I should have said right at the beginning, spoilers. Maybe I'll put up a tag. Spoilers, just for anyone that wants to play this. But if you're just interested to see how, one, can try and solo a pre-published adventure, and then also hearing what this new adventure is like, I will come back with part 2 at a later date. Thanks for coming by. Ka kite.